They gave my promotion to the boss's daughter, but she didn't even graduate college. I stood there frozen, pretending to clap while my insides burned. A week ago, my manager had told me I was the top candidate for the new department head role. I had spent 5 years building that department from the ground up, late nights, weekends, missed birthdays. And now? They handed my title to Madison, a girl who wore heels higher than her IQ and had only been with the company for 6 months. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you think hard work should actually mean something. This story will make you rethink everything. Everyone cheered like it was some royal coronation. Madison did her fake laugh, waved her manicured hand, and then looked directly at me, like she knew. Like she enjoyed it. I wanted to scream. But I didn't. I smiled, because I already knew something they didn't. Something they never expected. Point 3. Weeks ago, I had lunch with HR to update my file. While I was there, I noticed something strange. Madison's resume wasn't in the system. Curious, I checked the employee records. Her file had only 1 page, no transcripts, no degree verification, nothing. That's when I started digging. I reached out to the university she claimed to have graduated from. I sent a polite inquiry. Their reply came within 2 days, no record of Madison White ever enrolling or graduating from our institution. I didn't react. I waited. I printed that email, sealed it, and kept it in my drawer, just in case. Now, this was the moment. They stole my promotion. They underestimated me, but I wasn't just going to whisper the truth. I was about to put the truth on speaker. The moment Madison stepped off the stage with that smug little smile, I stood up, calm, composed, and holding a single white envelope in my hand. "Excuse me," I said, loud enough for the entire conference room to turn silent. "Before we move on with the celebration, there's something I think everyone should see." The HR director looked confused. Madison froze mid-step. My manager, Brad, started to shift uncomfortably in his seat. I walked slowly to the front. Like I belonged there, like I owned that floor, because deep down, I knew I did. I handed the envelope to the CEO himself. His name was Mr. Jennings. Always sharp, always fair, but clearly blindsided this time. "What is this?" he asked. "Proof," I said calmly. "Proof that Madison isn't who she says she is." He opened the envelope slowly. You could feel the room tense. Even the interns in the back stopped chewing their sandwiches. Inside was a copy of Madison's fake resume, along with the email from the university confirming it was all a lie. Brad jumped in first. "Evelyn, this isn't the time for—" "Oh, I think it is," I interrupted, my voice steady. Because while I was working 60-hour weeks building this department, she was lying her way into a title she didn't earn. Madison's eyes darted wildly. "This is ridiculous. That email could be fake." "Really?" I pulled out my phone. "Then maybe you should explain why the registrar's office says they've never even heard of you." I tapped a few times and played the voice message from the college representative. "We have no records of a Madison White graduating or attending any of our programs." The air went dead. Mr. Jennings looked at her like he'd just realized he'd been played. Madison opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Then Brad made the mistake of trying to defend her. "She's the daughter of our board member, Evelyn. Maybe we could have handled this internally." "Internally?" I snapped. "You publicly gave her my promotion in front of the entire staff. So I'm doing the same, publicly taking back my dignity." Everyone was still. And then, the whispers began. "She lied? How did she even get the job? Evelyn's been running that place anyway." Mr. Jennings stood, clearly furious. "Madison, we'll talk in my office. Now." But it wasn't over yet. Not even close, because what none of them knew was that Madison wasn't the only one lying. Brad had helped cover it up. And I had proof of his involvement too. The moment Madison and Mr. Jennings disappeared into his office, Brad turned to me, his face pale but trying hard to stay in control. "You've made your point, Evelyn. Let's not turn this into a witch hunt." "A witch hunt?" I smiled coldly. "Brad, this is a corporate funeral. And your name is on the tombstone." He stiffened. "Don't push your luck." But I already had. And I wasn't stopping now. While everyone else murmured and scattered, I walked over to the projector. With one click, I connected my laptop and projected an email trail on the giant office screen. It was from Brad's account. Sent 2 months ago. Subject: push the board to approve Madison, body, her degree's still pending. No need to verify it right now. Just get it done, her father promised us expansion funding. Gasps erupted. People gathered again. Phones quietly recorded. The HR director's mouth hung open. You forged documentation, she asked, looking at Brad. His voice cracked. That's taken out of context. Oh really? I swiped again. Another email. This time to the IT department. Make sure Evelyn doesn't have access to the hiring files anymore. We can't risk her digging around Madison's profile. That one hit harder than any slap. Even Brad looked like he wanted to disappear. Someone from finance whispered, he blocked her from the system? I turned back to the crowd. This wasn't just a mistake. This was planned deception. While I was grinding to build this department, they were treating it like a playground for their friends and family. Brad stepped forward, sweating. Evelyn, stop this now. We can offer you a title upgrade, more pay. I held up a finger. Too late. I don't want your title anymore. He blinked. Then what do you want? I smiled. Your resignation. Silence, the kind of silence that comes right before the sky breaks open. I'll take this to the board, I said. But I figured I'd give you one last chance to walk away, quietly. Brad's jaw clenched. But deep down, he knew he was done. The staff had already seen too much. HR was watching. The CEO would return from that meeting with fire in his eyes. He didn't reply. He just walked out of the room, trembling, but as satisfying as it was to see him fall. I wasn't done yet, because behind all of this, behind Madison, behind Brad, was someone more powerful. Her father. A board member, and what he had done went way beyond company rules. It was criminal. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I sat at my desk, lights off, screen glowing, going through every piece of data I had quietly collected for months. I knew Madison was just the puppet. The real hand pulling the strings was her father, Gerald White, one of the company's oldest board members. He had been untouchable for years. But now, I had what I needed. A month ago, I found something odd in the project funding reports. A division I helped secure under our marketing budget had mysteriously disappeared, rerouted to a fake consulting firm. I dug deeper, and guess what I found? That consulting firm was registered under a shell company. And the beneficiary? Gerald White. He had been funneling company funds into his own accounts through ghost vendors, and using Madison's fake promotion as a distraction. Brad helped him bury the documents. Madison played along, thinking she was climbing a ladder, but she was just another pawn. I compiled the report. Screenshots. Bank traces. Emails. Voice memos. And then I did something Gerald never expected. I sent the entire file to the external auditors, the SEC, and every member of the board. No emotion. No threats. Just the truth. Cold. Clean. Complete. The next morning, chaos broke loose. Gerald stormed into the building like a man on fire, demanding to see Mr. Jennings. But it was too late. The board had already called for an emergency vote. By noon, Madison was officially terminated. By 2 p.m., Brad had resigned. By 4 p.m., Gerald White was escorted out by federal agents, briefcase in hand, red-faced and yelling about conspiracies. And me? I sat quietly in the conference room as the board called me in. Mr. Jennings was already waiting, a new folder in front of him. Evelyn, he said, standing, what you did took guts. And intelligence. We owe you more than an apology. I looked him in the eye. I didn't do it for your approval. He nodded. We know. That's why this offer is real. He pushed the folder toward me. Inside was a new contract, Chief Operating Officer. A title even higher than the one they'd stolen from me, but I didn't smile. Not yet, because there was still one more move left on the board. A move that would change everything, because I wasn't staying in this company. I was about to own it. 3 weeks later, I stood at the front of that same conference room, but this time, not as an employee. As the majority shareholder. What nobody had known, not even Mr. Jennings, was that for the last 4 years, while I quietly built the marketing department, I was also quietly buying shares. Every bonus, every side hustle, every consulting gig I did in the background, I poured into acquiring company stock, especially during the merger downturn when prices fell. No one noticed. No one cared. Because no one saw me as a threat until I owned 51%. They called for an emergency board meeting after the buyout. Some were shocked. Others were silent. But when Mr. Jennings looked at me, he smiled faintly, as if finally realizing who I really was, not an assistant, not a team lead, not someone fighting for a promotion. I was the future of the company. I'll keep it short, I said, my voice calm, but filled with fire. This company was built on favoritism, nepotism, and lies. That ends now. We rebuild from integrity. From performance. And from people who actually do the work. Nobody clapped. Not yet. But the room buzzed with a different kind of energy, respect. Fear. Madison had gone into hiding. Brad's name was poison in the industry. Gerald was facing federal charges, but me? I became the face of the company. The press loved the story, from overlooked assistant to owner, how Evelyn took down corporate corruption with one email. Job offers flooded in from other firms, but I declined them all. Because I had something bigger in mind. 6 months later, I launched a mentorship program for women in tech and marketing, helping them rise without playing the dirty game. The company's revenue tripled under my leadership, but what gave me the real satisfaction was knowing that the very people who once whispered behind my back now stood when I entered the room. I wasn't just Evelyn anymore. I was proof that underdogs don't just survive, they win, and when they do, they rewrite the rules.